Welcome to the 7 Minutes with Q podcast. I am your host, Q. Thank you for watching and listening to us. Today is going to be a very special show. This show is sponsored in part by the city of Houston through the Houston Arts Alliance. We're doing a series called hashtag Black Sheep, White Sheep, where we're going to talk about, explore, and dive into our experiences as being Black Americans or however we identify, and that'll be everybody's choice. And what that meant, being called an Oreo, being called acting white, not always feeling, fully accepted in the community, maybe even marginalized, maybe even wondering what it means to be Black. To my left, most of you know at the 7 Minutes with Q Nation, she used to do the Insecure recap. We have the amazingly talented Cameron King with us. Show some love. What's up, Cameron?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me here.
Oh, how could I not? As soon as I got word that I wanted, I was like, I know exactly who to call. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not that I called her that, but, we vibed on some levels, and I figured that she would understand this theme, this topic. To her left, most of you know, if you know the Rolling Sevens, that's the not only just the bassist, but an integral part of the band. Spencer Lightsy, a.k.a. Dragonfly Fern Bass. That's a mouthful, but what's up, Spence? What's up, homie?
Q? How you doing, man?
We good, baby.
Glad to be here, brother.
Yeah. We've had a lot of conversations about this, glad you're here, man.
Appreciate it.
And then to his left is the amazingly good friend, Shamar, who I go to, for ideas, to talk, to vent. And we have definitely, chopped it up a lot about this. Everybody, show some love. Shamar Taylor at the show.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing tonight?
Hey, that's what's up.
Pleasure to be here.
No, the pleasure's ours. So this is it, 7 Minutes with Q Nation, my community. What's up? We're finna dive right in, man. One thing, I'm finna dive right in with this poem. This poem is from Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes is an American poet, African-American, Black poet. I think he might have, been Afro-Latino, but I'm not 100% sure. But most people know about Langston Hughes. You maybe know the poem Life Ain't Been No Crystal Stair, and there's a lot of other popular ones. And then also for me, Langston Hughes also was an integral part in why I decided to live in France. And I've spoken about that, I believe, in other episodes. But he has a poem that I'm going to read in its entirety. It's not too long. It's just right. And I'm a good reader, so you're going to love it. It's called The Theme for English B. I'm going to just give a little background on it. For me, this poem is like, I go to this poem a lot to like be re-energized, reassured, motivated or whatnot. And I remember when I was, not as stable in my acceptance of myself in dealing with these realities, this, when I stumbled upon this poem like hit me, like smacked me in the face. And I was like, this is it. Now, it's not, it wasn't written in the 2000s, but I could still relate to it for what it is. So I'm going to read it to you. If you want to fast forward, you can go right ahead, but I would argue you're going to miss out on it. All right. So here it is. This poem is called Theme for English B by Langston Hughes. The instructor said, go home and write a page tonight and let that page come out of you. Then it will be true. I wonder if it is that simple. I am 22, colored, born in Winston-Salem. I went to school there, then Durham, then here to this college on the hill above Harlem. I am the only colored student in my class. The steps from the hill lead down into Harlem, through a park. Then I cross St. Nicholas, 8th Avenue, 7th, and I come to the Y, the Harlem branch Y, where I take the elevator up to my room, sit down, and write this page. It's not easy to know what is true for you or me at 22, my age. But I guess I am what I feel and see and hear. Harlem, I hear you. Hear you, hear me, we too, you, me, talk on this page. I hear New York too. Me, who? Well, I like to eat, sleep, drink, and be in love. I like to work, read, learn, and understand life. I like a pipe for Christmas present or records, Bessie, Bop, or Bach. I guess being colored doesn't make me not like the same things other folks like who are other races. So will my page be colored that I write? Being me, it will not be white. but it will be a part of you, instructor. You are white, yet a part of me, as I am a part of you. That's American. Sometimes perhaps you don't want to be a part of me, nor do I often want to be a part of you, but we are. That's true. As I learn from you, I guess you learn from me, although you're older and white and somewhat more free. This is my page for English B. So that's it. That's the poem. So I want to open up and just go around. We'll start this way. And then after that, it doesn't matter the order. If you feel some, chime in, jump in. But I'm going to start it off. Well, actually, I'm not. I've been talking the most. We're going to throw this over to Cameron. Cameron, I want to know, you had a chance to read over. You just heard me read it. You know what we were going to talk about tonight. We've talked about it in the past. You lived your life experiences. What does that poem mean to you? What does it say to you? What do you take from it?
I think the part that I find most intriguing or that draws me the most to the poem is when he says, I like to eat, I like to drink, etc. Because I think it's true. Like, we as humans, we all have wants, needs, desires, things that we like, things that we don't like. And some of that is not necessarily specific to the Black experience, right? Because everybody can identify with something, with someone across the color lines, right? And when we talk about what makes you Black or what makes you white or this and that, some of those things are other characteristics that other people have, right? So it's like, when we talk about defining our identity, how can we do that? And I think that's a great question, I guess, that it's proposed within the context of that poem. We all like this and that, so how can we call something specifically for Black people? How can we call something specifically for white people when, again, we all kind of have some overlap,
Right.
So that's what I would like to say.
Spencer, what about you?
One of the things that jumped out the first saying that he's only Black in his class, and that was my experience growing up in New York. And I lived in New Rochelle, went to school in Pelham where my dad taught. It's a predominantly white town. And because of that, I had in hindsight, I view it as a skewed view of race relations in America. But further on down in the poem where it talks about how, I am part of you and you are part of me, it's like, I am part of America, with, challenges with America, things I may like or dislike about it. I am an American. And whether America likes it or not, I'm part of you, America. And so it's that balance of, what is your individual identity? Where do you fit in within the whole? So those are a couple of things that resonated with me about it, but especially the part about, being that not just a numerical minority within the nation, but within my smaller confined area where I was growing up, and how that influences your perceptions, reality, how you view things, all that. And then another important note, in that small town, my dad was the gym teacher, football, baseball, basketball coach. So he was, he had, I don't say he raised these kids, but, these kids.
He had status.
He had status,
Yeah.
and, the families respected him and when I switched, my parents intentionally moved me out of Pelham to New Rochelle, which is where we live. They wanted me to have a more holistic experience of, race in America. And when I was growing up in Pelham, I thought that's what the whole world was like. I was like, this is how all white people treat Black people. Everything's great and fine. When I got to New Rochelle, where I wasn't the coach's kid anymore, it was like, this is
Culture
a different
shock,
world.
kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hated my parents for moving me out because, being away from all my friends. But in hindsight, I look back and see it was one of the best things for me.
That's real. Shamar.
Well, with me coming from New York, it's definitely a melting pot. I can definitely.
I actually didn't plan that I had two New York cats to talk about.
We're
I actually
trying to
didn't
take
plan it,
over. We're
but I'll
trying to
take it,
take
homie.
over.
I'll take it.
You get two New Yorkers in a room, we got a majority. No matter.
And hold on, you from Texas, right?
I'm born and raised in Texas.
Okay.
So okay, we got Southern and Northeast. All right, that's
It's
cool.
just-
We
it's
balance it out.
After reading the poem, and I had a conversation with my wife about this poem. I read it to her today, and it dawned on me that this poem wasn't just about him breaking through and moving forward. Like, there's a part where he said, up the hill, that's Sugar Hill. That's where a majority, a lot of the black people lived at, was Sugar Hill. That's where the money's at. That's where the wealth is. But it's also, it's a status quo as far as that goes. Then when you look and you read more, he's talking about Basie, Bop, and Bach. That's classical. That's hip hop. That's R&B. And that's what my mom raised us on. She said, even though I can't give y'all these things, I'm going to make sure that you have a little bit of culture. Like, go to the museum. I want y'all to listen to, Bach, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, Chopin, things like that. Because those are openings for conversation. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't think we as black people, black women, can have conversations like that. Like, I can have a conversation about politics, things of that sort. And when I read this poem, a lot of people want to be a part of us. They want to imitate us. You can go anywhere in the world. Yeah. Everybody wants to be black. They want to move like us. They want to dress like us. They want to talk. They want to talk like us. Yeah. Yo, man, you got this swag. Yo, why you talking like that?
Play our music.
Yeah, play our music. Do everything. But it's just how we are. Like, I gave an example to my wife, and I said, as slaves, when we left the South, a lot of people don't realize, if you read history, we had to become more assertive, because now we're in a place where people don't know who we are. So as a black man growing up north, now coming from the South, people not thinking, yo, why is he so assertive? Why is he acting like that? Because that's how we as New Yorkers get looked at, being conceited, vain, and all that. No, it's just, that's how our ancestors from the South raised us to be. Like, you wouldn't think people in New York ate rice or ate grits. That's a Southern thing. They call you geechees. But if you go to the city and you be like, yo, man, I'll take some grits with my eggs and some sausage. They be like, where you from? I'm like, yo, I'm from NY, bro. But my family is from the South. Yeah. But it's because of the mannerisms and everything like that. This poem resonated. It resonated on all different kind of levels. Just walking in Harlem. St. Nick, it's not St. Nicholas, it's St. Nick.
I was going to say, that's my dad grew up in Harlem, St. Nicholas Avenue. Yeah, so by his old building.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's just something about the vibe with Langston Hughes and the way this poem just hit. And I'm just like, yo. And I'm talking to my wife about it. She was like, yo, babe, that makes sense, because when black people came to the North, they had to have a new identity. They couldn't be passive no more. They had to start being aggressive. So when you talk to certain people from back east, you're like, damn, they just too aggressive. No, because now we had to show who we were. And that's what this poem really speaks about. Like, yo, he came from the South. He went to up north and he just did things differently. So it's just, that's why I said this topic is going to hit really hard tonight, because it's going to be so many different avenues we're going to hit as far as everything with this poem.
So let me throw this question in. How do you guys approach being in spaces when you're the only black person? How do you guys approach it? Anybody take it?
I think for me, it's first read the room and see who I'm dealing with.
Facts.
Yeah.
Talk to the people. Like, talk to people who don't know, young kid. You don't know who's watching, who's gonna listen. Right. Like, give it to us, man.
And I was gonna say, you've been in, like, we've been hanging.
I've been in too many rooms.
I've
been in too many damn rooms by myself, homie. Like, it gets annoying sometimes.
But with me and you though, like, we've been in, like, me and you have been in places where it's been just me and you.
Avant Garden. So he's talking about Avant Garden. It's an open mic spot.
Q's naming the name. Avant Garden.
And just real quick, Avant Garden. Straight respect.
Right.
But when we go on open mic night, because on Wednesday night they got a poetry night, it's nothing but colored folks.
Right.
Yeah.
We go on Tuesday night because we, guitar player, bassist in the band. It's, as far as performance wise, it's pretty, Caucasian, pretty white, pretty whatever, So
I'm gonna give you one even more extreme than Avant Garden, because I'm down at the beach all the time. Surfside, it's definitely. And I'm not getting into politics here. It's definitely Trump country, and that is
never about that.
Yeah, no, that is who's there. And I'm down there, and I'm down there by myself, sleeping on the beach so I can watch the sunrise. And it is a different interaction when I'm there by myself. It's like I'm not trying to have any conversations. I'm not trying to convince anybody everything. I am trying to go to sleep, wake up, get to see the sunrise, and come home safely. That's my sole goal there. Whereas when we're in other spaces, it's okay, we can have a conversation where you may feel more comfortable with discussing some more things that would be deemed as controversial or adversarial, maybe. But so when I'm, either one of a few black people in a space, the first thing and I'm older, man. I'm 48 years old, so part of it for me.
Black don't crack, man.
Part of it, part of it for me is it worth the effort, energy, and stress to have this conversation? And a lot of times at where I am in life right now, it's not, because the information is on there. You can Google it. You don't need me to be your teacher and educate you. If you want to know, you can learn. Yeah. And I was talking to someone about this the other day, is that even if that does happen, say someone does, they go find some, I don't want to call it fair and objective, but they find some data that's not skewed one way or the other, but it's real. And it may not align with your preconceived notions. You're going to dismiss it anyway. So why am I going to extend myself? I'm like, you know what, man? You live your life.
If somebody's mind is made up, you're not changing it.
Exactly. And I'm old enough now where I'm like, I don't have the energy to try and battle and, struggle with people that aren't open-minded. So if that's what you think, you're over there, over here, so be it. That's fine. So long story short, long answer to how do I navigate those spaces? First, I'm reading the room, seeing who I'm in the room with. Yeah. And that dictates a lot of how I'm going to engage or choose to disengage.
Cameron, you look like you had something that you want to...
Honestly, I want to say I agree with Spencer. For me, it depends where I'm at, because as professionals and whatever realm that you're in a lot of different spaces. So a lot of things you kind of have to take it case by case. And for me, I'll just give the example. I'm bilingual. I'm a Spanish speaker, and I've traveled abroad. I've studied in multiple countries: Spain, Costa Rica. I lived in Puerto Rico when I was getting my master's for about 2 years. And I moved to Puerto Rico specifically because I was like, all right, it's a U.S. territory. I know I'm going to see some black people that look like me. Somebody got a black grandmama, somewhere. Right. So I knew that I was going to be able to find spaces for myself. Mm-hmm. But also on the flip side, I'm still from the U.S., right? So I had to kind of, I don't want to say prove myself, but people, even with people there looking darker than me, with hair kinkier than mine, whatever the case is, they could tell that I wasn't from there before I even opened my mouth, And I speak Spanish again, so it's just a matter of, okay, I need to look for spaces where I'm accepted, where I feel safe, where I'm like, all right, I don't got to worry about someone looking at me crazy, even if they might be looking at me crazy because they know I'm not from there. But again, I can kind of blend in, So that was something that was really important to me, and specific reason why I chose to move to Puerto Rico. Definitely. Yeah.
Did you have something to share?
I would have to agree with what Spence said and Cameron, but the field that I am in, I'm in traffic control. So I'm in different parts of the country.
All the time.
So the vibes are different, like black, white, some of the most racist people are black, believe it or not. And I had to
interesting statement.
And I've had to deal with that because of work. Because like she said, you don't know how you'll be reacted to. Like I came in as a lead traffic control guy. They didn't know I had the status. And the status to me is nothing. You're a man, I'm a man, you're a woman, you're a woman. But it's just how you take the room. Like I'm very aggressive. I'll go in the room. Hey, how y'all doing today? I'll make you speak to me. Yeah. Good morning. How you doing? All right, cool. That's what we're doing today. And that's how I read the room, because my reaction is I want to see how you're going to react off of me. So when I worked with different groups of people, specifically blacks, especially in let's just say an all-white state, let's just say Tennessee, Mississippi, let's just say that place. The people are different. The vibe is different. So you kind of got to do it with like a wooden spoon at a length, like, yo, bro, like we the same, but you be so surprised how they just hate on you because you actually doing a job that you was brought in to do, and you just getting hated on. But then you have to look back and look at it like, you know what? Now it's a teaching moment. So how do I approach this now if it's somebody white? So I approach things differently when it comes to different people. Like people just talk to me out the plain blue. Mm-hmm. My brother-in-law can tell you that. My wife can tell you. People just come and start talking to me. It's because my wife says I have that certain just characteristic, like
je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, people just come and talk to you. I could be standing.
You got that approachability.
Yeah, and I'll just have a conversation with you. But at the same time, it's not disrespectful. I'm very soft-spoken. I'm not, I walked into a club one day, like y'all said, professional. We walked into a club after work. The music stopped. Okay. And the guy, we was in Kentucky, and the guy literally said, "Do you guys know where y'all at?" So you have to either
Fascinating.
You either
Not
gotta
on the mic.
you either gotta
On the mic?
Yeah, he was on the mic.
Oh,
He
I
was
thought it
DJing.
was like.
Saying
Oh.
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and we was at a club in Kentucky, and we just went there and we was just chilling. That's why I said,
I want my money back, homie. I want my gas money back.
yeah, but you know, but it was a blended crowd. It was both black. We had white, had a Mexican guy with us.
Fascinating.
But we walked in and it was like the music stopped and we was like, yo, it was good. And they was like, do you know why? Do you know where you're at? We was like, yeah, we know where we at. And the music never started back up. So we just said, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and bounce out. Let's go
Yeah,
ahead.
y'all not finna make me uncomfortable.
So it's one, how you take the room and how you read the room, and are you going to be that aggressive? Not aggressive, but kind of like passive, but still shake hands. Hey, what's good? You know, have a conversation and keep it pushing. But I'm not for the fuckery. I'm not
Facts.
that. I'm not.
Ain't nobody going to jail behind your ass,
Yeah.
homie. No,
So,
fuck that shit.
I'm just like, if we go out, I'm not drinking. I'm watching.
Yeah.
I'm making sure.
Because you ain't
it's good.
comfortable.
They don't-
But we try to make ourselves comfortable because I've been in some very uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked to Klansmen. I've met Aryan Brotherhood. I've had conversations with these guys just through traffic control, just dealing with people day to day. So, like you said, it's about how you approach it, what you're going to say, what you're going to do. It's even your demeanor. It's your statue, how you walk into a place. Because you could walk in and people going to know they're going to punk you. I'm not that guy. Like, so it just depends.
You mentioned conversation with the Klansmen, whatever. Real quick. Can you give us a long story short?
I'm going to give it a long
We're
story
happy
short.
that you're still here.
Long story short.
What happened was I was paving in Tennessee, Smoky Mountains. And
Paving. What's paving?
well, we was doing micro surfacing. Basically,
Okay.
it's like
Outdoor construction.
outdoor, paving the
Road work, yeah.
And we was paving over the mountain. And I'm out there, I'm flagging. I got my truck there. We just chilling. This guy pulls up on a motorcycle, having the greatest conversation. I was like, word, okay, He said, look, there's a couple of good places you can go, couple of places you can eat. And he's telling me where to go, near Gatlinburg. I was like, all right, bet. So he said, you know what? I've been here for so long, this long, and, this is what I do.
You sound just you sounded like him a little
And
bit.
he went in his pocket and he said, I've been a bona fide member of the KKK for such and such, and this is my membership. And he pulled the card out. And I said, what the fuck? But it didn't dawn on me like he wasn't that racist guy. He just said, we have meetings, we do this, we do that. But he pulled out his card. He showed it to me. I said, oh shit, KKK. Wow, 93. Wow. So you've been in it a while.
Wow, yeah, you got some.
So I was like, well, what made you get into that? He said, my dad was in it, my grandfather was in it. And,
Of course they were.
and it was that conversation, but nothing racist. He didn't he shook my hand. He didn't be rude or disrespectful. And he just got on his bike when the traffic was able to go and he went. I called my boss. I said, man, can you please switch out with me? Because the man on the bike that's going towards you is in the KKK. He said, you got to be kidding me. I said, no, he's KKK. But like I said, you just never know when you're having these conversations.
Sometimes I wonder if people actually believe the things that they hate. Because it really feels like he's believing what his dad, grandparents
Been
believe.
passed down.
Do they really believe it? Do they really feel that?
I'm crying because he pulled out that membership card like it was a baseball card collection.
He pulled it out. He had his name, address, photo, date of birth, and when he joined. I was bugged out. I called Edna and I was like, yo, babe, I just met a KKK guy.
Think of what that says, that someone has no shame in being a card-carrying member of
Yes.
the KKK
Facts.
and
Not in
is
trouble.
willing to show it to a black person. It's like, oh, I didn't tell him in the KKK. Oh, yeah, here's my card. And showing it like you're showing a picture of your grandkids or something. And when you were asking, does he even know what he's hating? When I was thinking, part of that I think is, cultural. He said his grandpa, his dad's in it, and so he's in it. And then I also wonder, how many conversations has he had with a black person before? If all he knows of black people is what he sees on TV and what he hears at the Klans meetings, well, that's what he's going on. He hasn't had a conversation with like an actual sit down conversation with a black person before. So it's so ingrained, and we talk about how things are progressing and getting better, but then you have instances like that where this is clearly something that was generational, where this guy didn't seek out the KKK, he didn't Google it, how do you join? His grandfather was in it, his dad was in it, so he was in it, and so his kid most likely is probably going to be in it. Hopefully not, but that
cycle has to be broken,
right?
Right.
And it's just so cultural and ingrained, and also you think about it where this guy that shows his KKK membership card, he's like, I have never owned a slave. I've never lynched anyone. I'm in the KKK, so it can't be that bad. Why do people not like the KKK? All it is white pride. That I can see that thought process. And so he's like, why are people against gay? As a matter of fact, I spoke to a black traffic guy the other day. That's a conversation he's going to tell to people, and it's just, it's not, I don't call it scary, but it's just, it's daunting. It's a daunting task to change those perceptions.
It is. So kind of picking on this, what do you guys do when you're in these spaces where, and a lot of times it happens for me when I'm in a space where I'm typically the only black person or there's few people of color. What do you do when white people come around? I'm not racist, man. I mean, do you think I'm racist? Like, they come out of the blue and throw that out. I mean, how do you guys respond to that?
I don't answer it. And
first I'm saying I think most
Cameron.
people are racist. No, that's all I want to say. I think most people are racist, and that's outside of the color lines. It doesn't matter. I feel like all of us as humans have preconceived notions about other people. Like, I don't know how many times I done heard my family members say something about Hispanics or assume that just because they're Hispanic, they Mexican, or, all the things. And I think just us.
I got to check my family on that. Hey, they're not all Mexican.
Yeah.
You be mad if they not all Mexican. I ain't saying you got to like them. Just don't call them all Mexican, man. They get mad.
Yeah, and I just think we as a people, I think it's easier for us to believe stereotypes, to kind of attach this one size fits all generalizations to people, because it's easier than having to unpack that and, take people for who they are,
Well, that's like what Q was saying earlier. Like, I married a Dominican woman, my wife. And
she over there. What's up?
And
all the Dominicanos. Hola, amigo. ¿Cómo estás?
And I can remember the first day I took her to meet my family. And mom was like, oh, she's so beautiful. She's this and that. But then Edna, it's been ingrained in her to, she gets up, she cleans the table. She does this, she does that. My mom was like, is she black? I was like, yes, auntie, she's black. She's Dominican. I mean, you kind of, she's, and then Edna turned around and said something in Spanish. So it just shook everybody. Like, you just never know. Like, it could, like, she's black. I'm black. We're Dominican. Like, even, it's like, it even boils down to when you even stand in your household, like, who does the cooking? Like, yo, babe, could you make your dish? And then I make my stuff. It's just, like you said, it's just, sometimes it's easy to see it, but like she said, everybody has a little bit of racism in it. I mean, even listen, I'm really bad. I work around a lot of Mexicans, but they're all cool with me, and I joke when hey, what's up, home? Hey, what's up, SA? And I do that, right? But they even come back and they be like, hey, man, why do you walk so funny? So it's always a joke hand in hand, but nothing like degrading or disrespectful. I even have friends that are white. We do the same thing. We joke around. We talk.
Mutual respect goes a long way, and it,
But it's nothing like, yo, man, like I'll say something Mexican. And he was like, yo, a fight breaks out. No, it's just we're having fun, because I'm gonna be honest with you, we're out there 12 hours a day. I just can't be all stiff. We got to joke around, have some type of fun.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. So I think
everybody does that.
Yeah,
you gotta build rapport.
So I mean, I think it's just how you just handle yourself all together, all the way around. Like you said, like acting white or being called an Oreo. I mean, I've been called acting white. I listen to a lot of white songs. I ain't gonna lie. Some of the best.
And when I hear that Bach in the poem, I'm like, okay, there goes rock. There goes, punk. I mean, there goes all the genres I like. That
I like Queen. Hey.
Yeah.
There you go.
Elton John. I mean, I was at the club with my wife, and the Queen song came on, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Singing your heart out.
If you don't like Queen, if you don't like Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm going to say this and I'll take the flat. Something's the fuck wrong with you, homie. I don't care who you are.
But that's the thing.
Something's wrong with you if you don't like that song.
No,
straight up.
But the thing was, she didn't see, how did she say it? She didn't see the white side.
I wasn't directing that to her. I was directing that to the audience.
Yeah.
But I mean, she didn't know that side. I mean, I literally just bopping my head. I'm knowing all the words. I hit the high note. She just looked at me like, is this my husband? But it's just because that's just how I am. I'm a funny guy. I like to have fun. I like to joke around. Even when I talk on the phone, you would think I was white until I said my name.
All right, so we were talking about, talking white Oreo and all this. This question I have, throw it to Cameron. Does color, does talking have a color? Does, speaking, professionally, I mean, does this have a color? Does talking, does words, does vernacular, do these things have a color?
I'm going to say yes and no. Yes, because there are certain dialects that are specific to certain groups of people. AAVE, for instance, right? I don't want to say that.
For those who don't know, what is that?
African American Vernacular English, right? So I feel like everything stems from slavery, and I hate saying that. It comes
I agree.
from slavery. Yeah. But just a diverse way of talking, especially for people who are brought to this country, speaking a bajillion different languages and just literally learned English by hearing it. Right. So in a cultural sense, yes, that is black. And when we were talking about earlier how there are a lot of white people, people of color, non-black people who want to emulate us, who add a little extra oomph and an extra ain't and an extra this to their speech, especially when they come around us, you can tell that it's forced. You can tell that it's performative. Right? But on the flip side, when we're talking about acting white or speaking white, okay, well, what does that mean? Because not all white people speak properly. So and that's
Trump.
Let's talk about it.
Trump.
So in that sense,
he can't even make complete sentences, homie. Like, come on now. Fifth graders got him beat on that. Anyways.
Are you smarter than a fifth grader? But when we talk about speaking properly, that's not inherently white.
No.
It's not. So when we have this conversation about, oh, you sound white, oh, you sound black, I think that those can be two separate things. Because in the flip side, we're saying that if you're talking white, you're talking proper, you're aspiring to be something that you're not. In that case, that's not necessarily true. And most of us as black people, we've had to code switch. We can talk about that. We've had to adapt our speech based on the spaces that we're in. Right? In order to be taken seriously, in order to maintain whatever credibility we might have, especially in a professional setting, right? Because there's a certain way that you're going to talk when you walk in the office. You might have a couple people that you can really be yourself with, but then you're also going to act differently when you're around your family. You're going to act differently when you're around your homies. So for us, specifically for us black people, I feel like it's more of a time and place thing and being aware of our surroundings and pulling out my tactics to survive and to thrive in the areas that I'm in.
Hey,
y'all don't need me to do that. Jump in, homie. You know when she paused, jump in.
Anything else to add
Cut me
to
off.
that
We thought she
except
was
to
still
accentuate what you said about thriving and surviving?
Right.
Anything else I'd say would be repetitive, but I think that is a key of learned behavior in terms. So I'm speaking for me personally now.
Yeah.
Growing up in Pelham, New York, I've seen what happens when some black people talk this way and some black people talk that way. Oh, you treat him that way, you treat him this way. I want to be treated well, so I'm going to speak like this. And so you can talk about thriving and surviving. I think that's a key component of it, even maybe on a subconscious level of, I want to be treated how you treat these other kids, so I'm going to talk like that. And like I said, it's a thriving and surviving.
It is. My grandmother once told me the most dangerous person in the room is a black person that's educated. And that goes with everything from reading a book, because let's go a little bit further. Kids today don't really know how to really speak and talk and do this
And right.
and write. They
I think text message society has.
So when we would get in trouble, my mom would throw a book at us and say, read it. She didn't, that was her form of punishment. So I'm going to make you sharper. If you don't understand these words, you're going to write them down and you're going to tell me and write a sentence or a story. So I just think it's all about us being more eloquent with our words, pronouncing. Because if you ever really listen to anyone of color, and I'm talking Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican, Cuban, anybody of the even Spanish culture, black culture, the language is just, the dialect is beautiful when they talk. It's just they talk slow.
You talking about in Spanish?
No, I'm just saying any.
Oh.
I mean within the color, like there's different all across the rainbow, even some whites. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if you ever listen to a black woman say a poem or speak a poem, it's with such veracity and just vigor and then zeal. You know, you get that same poem to somebody who is a Caucasian, it's not going to come off the same. So I think it's taught from our parents and from our grandparents. Like, you have to know your voice. Like you gotta speak. You gotta get closer to the mic.
I think even more so for us, absolutely.
So especially in this society today, like you said, it's about where you are. You know, the people, you're reading the room. You got to take that authority, because some people take us as a joke. They want to see us get angry. They want to see us act out of order.
Yeah.
So just imagine how you are when you're just really cool and laid back. That's going to scare them even more. They're like, yo, this is, why he, okay, I'm waiting. No, I'm not going to give you that, because that's what they want. So now you just got to hit them with the words, hit them with the positivity, be laid back, be slick with it.
Is code switching good? Is code switching bad? What are your thoughts? Let's do Shamar. Let's go that way.
I think code switching is necessary, because you could be in a room with all white people and you can talk real proper, do whatever you need to do. Hey, my thesis and to whatever. And they're going to be like, wow, then you could be around your homies. You could do the same thing. Like I said, it's all about how you take the room and how you present yourself. If you know who you are, you're always going to be good. But code switching by far is like, I think it's a good tactic, and it's a good way to actually learn people. When you're shooting that and you're talking to them, you're like, yo, man, so really? Especially when you talk to white people, because I've talked to Caucasians and we'll have conversations. I put my hands at my side when I talk to them. I don't do this. I put my hands at my side when I talk to them. I really put my hands behind my back. Now, when I'm talking to the brothers or the Mexicans, I'm all hands. Yo, what's up? Really? I give them a hand, give them a pound. And I shake hands when it comes to the Caucasians. I shake them. I don't do the dap and all. No, I don't do that when it comes to them. It's just, you got to know when to do it. So it's just like, I could be in a certain place where it's like white, black, Mexican, and all these people, and I'll do that with all of them differently, and they'll just be like, damn, and yo, what's up, good? Pound, hug, whatever. It's just how you just carry yourself. But I'm in total agreement with code switching. We could do that all day.
Yeah, with white folks, I can't think of any white folk that try to dab me like black folks. I'm trying to think. I don't think. You get the cool white people, but they'll know I can't do that with you. But I'll give you a good handshake, right?
Right.
I'm like, who has ever been white try to for real, homie?
Trying to dap you.
Yeah, no, kid, we don't do that, homie. What about you, man? Code switching, good, bad, indifferent. What's your feeling? What's your thoughts?
Definitely. I wouldn't even say good or bad. Just life. To me, it's a norm. And I am not going to do this justice, because I just read this saw this the other day. It talked about what we do at work when we speak like this, and then when I might see it at the House of Blues, hey, what's up, Q? What's going on? That's the code switching. But what we do it for 8 hours a day is actually masking who we are. And it was a I think it was a therapist talking about how that's deeper, because code switching is words, but like what we do for 8 hours a day and how we carry ourselves, that's masking.
Facts.
Which is deeper than just code switching. And again, I'm not.
Which is why you got to decompress at the end of the day.
Yes,
Facts.
Right. So code switching isn't necessary. I would say I don't think it's a problem. Look at how I'm dressed. We've been out places. You've never seen me.
True.
Like
you never had a sports coat.
Yeah.
But this to me is not a color. This is like.
Oh no.
Casual.
No, you know what this
is business casual.
Because it's like, hey, you're
casual,
not like, hey, meet me at the House of Blues. We're gonna play. Like, no, this is my podcast. Blah blah blah, so on and so forth. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is Q's business. I need to dress in business attire, not like we're at the House of Blues or Avant Garden. So, and now this is a code switch for me, because this is not what I wear. But I know in certain situations and environments, Like if I came in, with my wrinkled T-shirt that I wear at House of Blues, you'd be like, Spence, man, we got the cameras going. You couldn't even iron the shirt for you, boy, man. Come on. But it's like a level of professionalism. Understands like, no, this is how you operate in a business setting. So I think code switching is just, it's not even. I keep stopping myself from saying we, because it's code switching is if you have a professional job, you dress and speak a certain way, regardless of what your ethnicity is. If you want to succeed and do well and move up in that particular organization and field. If it's not important to you, you do whatever, talk how you want, wear what you want, whatever. But if it's something that's important to you, you'll, again, this is what I wear at work, and I have no problem wearing this at work because, what I tell friends, I was like, man, I sold 8 hours of my day to the state of Texas. And if they want me to wear this is what I'm going to wear.
Say that again.
I sold 8 hours of my day to the state of Texas.
That's what we do. We sell our time.
Right. If they want me to wear these kind of clothes, that's what I'll wear. And when I'm off the clock, I don't think you've ever seen me wear a shirt with a collar. I'm off the clock. It's my time. But when I've sold my time to the state of Texas and they want me to do a job, I'm going to wear clothes that they would appreciate me wearing. Yeah. And that's not me being fake or whatever. That's just, it's a give and take. It's
maneuver, finesse in the system.
Yep.
So wrapping up, Cameron.
I was gonna say it's a necessity as well. I agree with Shamar. I love when you mentioned your beautiful wife and how she's Dominican, because black is different everywhere, right? That's
say that again.
Like black European,
that part.
Black American,
that part.
Black Latino, and
that part.
When we talk about Spanish specifically, right? And I'm sure you can agree with me. I lived in Puerto Rico, right? So I thought I knew what the fuck I was talking about when I moved to Puerto Rico because I speak Spanish. And then I was like, wait, what are they saying? And then I met some Dominicans along the way. And then I met some Cubans along the way. So when we talk about the way we speak, especially in Spanish, you can tell what social class someone is from by the way that they speak in Spanish. You can tell what region of the country that they're from whenever they're speaking in Spanish. You can tell like hierarchy, who they're speaking to based on the words that they say, whether they use slang or not, whether they leave off certain parts of words. So
body language.
When we think about code switching, it's very much, again, necessary to finesse situations, to get out what we set to get out by communicating. And I'll leave it at that.
Well, there you have it, folks. If these stories resonate with you, like, subscribe, reshare. Listen, man. We are artists sharing our opinions, and we are sensitive about our shit. We're not trying to talk about Oreoism and acting white for people to do fuck shit to us or whatever. This shit, we're trying to share our feelings, share our trauma, share our realities, but also inspire people out there who are not as bold or not reached a point in their life. Listen, 10 years ago, I couldn't talk about this stuff on camera or address people or be open like this. There's people out here who are like me 10 years ago. I don't want to ruin this or fuck this over for them. So in the words of the amazing Erykah Badu, and if you ain't into Erykah Badu, we don't want you as a fan. I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. So with that said, like, subscribe, reshare. We want to grow independent of the major players and platforms.